right, I am live right now. Looks like I'm about 14 seconds in. So today is going to be all about purling in knitting. And the purl is the other stitch that goes with, you have the knit stitch that goes forward, and then the purl stitch goes to the side or to the left, or, well, right if you're left-handed, left if you're right-handed. So what you'll need to do today is go ahead and get yourself some needles. Today I'm just using my Knit Picks circulars, and I really like these because I have a little bit better control over what I'm doing. I don't have to have clickety clackety sticks on either side that hit the desk and things like that, so I feel like there's better control with these. If you guys don't have these, that's fine. If you ever start knitting and getting really passionate about it, I suggest getting a set of these rather, because they're amazing, and they're nickel plated and they glide through your yarn really well, and I love them. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and get your needles that you're going to use and the yarn you're going to use. I don't care if it's a weight 3 or weight 4 or weight 5, it doesn't matter. In this case, you're just going to be learning how to do the stitch. So go ahead and grab that and come on back. All right. So first thing you need to do is make your foundation, which is where you cast on to your needle. And as you guys know, if you've watched the other videos where I've been teaching other knitting tutorials like casting on, or if you've watched how to do the knit stitch, then you're going to know that for right-handed knitters, you're going to have your yarn on this needle here, and this right needle is going to be your working needle. And then if you're left-handed, however, it's going to be the opposite. So that's going to be different. Now, I don't have a way of showing you how to knit left-handed on here, because all of my videos where I do left-handed is done in an editor where I just flip the video. So that's how that's done. But anyway, so I wanted to make sure that you guys understood that left-handed obviously is going to be the opposite. So okay, so we're going to go ahead and cast on 10. Right now I have 2, 4, 6, 7. I need 3 more here. And if you've seen how I do some of the cast-ons, right now I'm using a knitted cast-on. And this is actually my favorite way to do it because it's quick and it just uses the knit stitch for the most part. So that's why I like it. See, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right, so in purling, you're going to be using the same technique that you use when you were knitting. Now, knitting goes up under the front leg of the first stitch and it goes back. The working needle goes back underneath this other needle here, okay? Well, in purling, you're going to go the opposite direction. So you're going to use this front leg here. You're going to put the working needle in to the side and go to the left, or like I said, if you're left-handed, to the right. But your working needle will then be in front, okay? So what you want to make sure is that, first of all, that this yarn, your working yarn, is in the front. So let's move this needle in the back. Your working needle for a purl stitch always has to be in front toward you, okay? When you're knitting, it's the other direction. When you're knitting, the yarn is back here, okay? So the yarn is away from you in knitting and towards you in purling. So make sure that the yarn is on top. If you have the cable, make sure the yarn is on top of the cable when you start working, and that way it'll be in the front. All right, so you start with the working needle, you push it through underneath that leg, and now you have your yarn over here. The yarn will then be wrapped around that front needle like this. So it'll be between the 2 needles, okay, and your tension comes from this hand, and then you're going to move the needle back. Now, what you want to start doing is making sure that particular yarn, this is the yarn that's been wrapped, okay? That's the yarn you wrapped around. You want to make sure that that yarn right here is getting picked up by the needle, so that the tip picks that up and pushes it to the back like this. And then you want to move it off onto the working needle, okay? And now we're going to make another one. We're going to work to the side to the left or to the right if you're left-handed. Make another wrap around that needle, and then we're going to, as I said, use the tip of the needle to push that yarn back and then move it off the needle. So it's definitely not difficult. This is not hard to do at all. Your working yarn is in the front, so you'll be able to make the purl stitches easily. Take the working needle on this side and under that front leg there to the side. Remember, we're not knitting, we're purling. Wrap that yarn around the working needle. Push that needle back until the tip connects with the yarn back here. It pushes it onto the working needle, and then just pop it off right there. And that's all you have to do. So if you are interested in continuing this tutorial, I would suggest once the video is over that you just rewind it and go back and rewatch it. Okay, that way you can continually learn, continually practice. It's very easy to do. Wrap that yarn around. Make sure the needle picks up that yarn, pushes it in the back. You can basically push your needle against the other needle, like this. When I have the yarn wrapped around, this needle is in contact with the needle behind it. So if you kind of scrape the needle across that back needle, you can't help but pick up that yarn in the back. Okay, and you just push that right off onto the thing. Some people will have a really hard time keeping their stitches on their needles, especially if they're nickel plated or what would you call it, like any kind of metal, because the yarn tends to kind of fly off the needle. So if you're brand new to this and you feel like these types of needles are not working for you and it's been harder, I would go get bamboo. They're a little more expensive, but they hold on to the yarn better. So anyway, that's how you make a purl stitch, just like that. And then turn your work just like you would in anything else. Make sure that your yarn is in the front. So like I said, if you have the cable, like I do, your yarn is going to be in the front over the top of the cable. If you're knitting, then your needle is always going to be in the front and the yarn is in the back. Okay, so I want to make sure that that's understood first and foremost, because that can become very confusing, and some people will be like, I don't understand why my very first stitch is so messed up. It's because of where the yarn was when they started. Hi Carrie, you're expecting knitting needles to arrive later today. That's awesome. Okay, well then that's perfect. Then when you get them, you can watch the video when it's done and then you'll be able to do all this with me. Okay, so we're going to continue purling. Now purling is very much like the knit stitch when all you do is purl, like row after row after row is just nothing but purl. It kind of gives the same exact pattern as when you knit and do nothing but knitting every row. So it's basically the same thing, but it does change up when you add the knit and the purl stitch in the same row. It's very different. Anyway, I don't want to confuse you. But moving forward, let's go ahead and put the needle back underneath that first leg here. Grab your yarn. Let's first of all get the tail out of the way. That's not going to be useful. And then wrap that front needle like that with the yarn, and then continue on making your purl stitches just like you did. If you feel like your stitches are too loose, you can raise up on that yarn here and pull that stitch tighter. And that's all you have to do. And then wrap it around and push it to the back and off the needle. Okay? And that's all you do. I'll go slow so you can try to keep up with the pace here. Okay, push that to the back and just lower it off the needle. So the new stitches are coming from, as you could probably tell, when we do this and we wrap the yarn around, the new stitch is the wrap around yarn. Okay, so once you push that yarn to the back and then you take this stitch off that needle, you just created a new stitch over here. it's not the same stitch. It's a brand new stitch. So you're going to have, as you can see, the difference on this side. See how you have the bumps here and then the kind of like almost like bumps below? You have the bumps here, but there's nothing above it. It's just these stitches. So you'll notice the difference that you have 2 rows here, but only 1 here. So that's kind of how you can also keep track of how many rows you have. So just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And like I said, if you guys need to just go back and look at the video where I'm, going slower, that's fine. This video is going to be very short. And, if you have any questions about the technique or you need some extra help, you can leave me a comment, questions, anything in the comment section, or you can send me an email at fibertheory@yahoo.com, and I would be glad to get back with you. Yeah, and that's what I'm here for. I want to show you guys how to do this, and then if you need any help, I'm always available. I always have my phone on me, so I can always answer. Even if I'm at work, I can answer you, because I sit at a table all day while I'm there. So anyway, this is what it is starting to look like. And as I said before, if it's nothing but a knit stitch, you're going to get basically this exact same pattern. If it's nothing but purl, you're going to get the exact same pattern as well. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me. And thanks, Carrie, for popping in. And go ahead and go check out the video once it's up and you have your needles. And you guys, like I said, if you have any questions, I'm always available. So just don't hesitate to ask. And I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys are loving knitting as much as I do. So anyway, just go ahead and practice and just keep doing it until it feels natural. Don't forget to practice the knit stitch, then practice a purl stitch, not together. Don't do that together, because we need to differentiate where the yarn goes between stitches. Otherwise, you'll have a big old mess. So just practice the next week or so, and then we will continue on, and hopefully, I really hope to have a knitting project for the month of March. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, believe me. So anyway, y'all have a great day, practice your stitches, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.